All right, today we're going to break down a really urgent new strategic framework, one that's built for the chaotic world we're living in now, a world where all the old maps are pretty much useless. Look, this isn't about predicting the future. It's about understanding the basic operating system of the 21st century.
This quote from Antonio Gramsci, wow, it just perfectly captures this moment, doesn't it? The stable, predictable world order that, we thought we knew, it's gone. We're in that chaotic gap in between, where the new rules are being written as we speak, often by forces that don't care about rules at all.
So to really understand how we got to this point, we have to accept a fundamental truth. The entire paradigm of the 20th century has completely collapsed. We've walked into what some strategists are calling the regime of uncertainty.
I mean, think about it for a second. Building and maintaining international order, that is incredibly expensive. It takes money, it takes effort, it takes cooperation. But sowing chaos, spreading disinformation, disrupting entire systems, that's cheap. It's almost free. In this new world, the big institutions we relied on, like the UN, have become almost powerless. They're more like stage props in a much bigger, much rougher game.
And this really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The very definition of what power is has fundamentally changed. For centuries, geopolitics was obsessed with just one question: who controls the land? Today, that question is almost irrelevant. The new questions, the ones that decide who wins and who loses, are totally different. Who is processing the data? Who is managing the digital systems we all depend on? And maybe the most important question of all, who is persuading society? Who wins the battle for what we believe?
So this massive shift has created a completely new blueprint for national power. It's not a single pillar anymore. No, it's a complex, deeply interconnected system.
And that brings us to this idea of layered sovereignty. Now, the key word here is multiplication, not addition. What does that mean? It means if any single one of these layers goes to zero, your total power collapses to zero. It's not like you can be weak in one area, but make up for it by being strong in another. The whole structure is only as strong as its weakest link.
This whole framework basically asks you to think about a nation as a kind of computer. The physical layer, that's your hardware, your tanks, your fighter jets, your power grids. The technological layer, well, that's your processor, how fast you can sense things and react to them. But the most critical layer, the one everything else depends on, is the cognitive layer. That's the software. We're talking about societal trust, a shared sense of reality, belief in your own country. Because without that software, the most advanced hardware on Earth is just a pile of dead metal.
So this new equation of power redraws our borders. You know, way back in 1648, the Treaty of Westphalia drew physical lines on a map to create countries. Today, we're in a whole new era. Let's call it Digital Westphalia. The most important borders aren't on a map anymore. They're the firewalls, the data centers, the digital platforms that define a nation's information space. And securing these new data borders, that's become a top priority for national security.
And, as you might guess, this new reality is changing the very nature of war itself. The goal isn't to annihilate your enemy anymore. The goal is to paralyze their entire system, to make it crash from the inside out.
Okay, so military strategists have long sworn by something called the ODA loop: observe, orient, decide, act. The side that can cycle through that loop faster wins. But what happens when you plug AI into that loop and accelerate it to machine speed? Well, you get ODA-X. We're talking about decisions being made in milliseconds, a speed that the human brain literally cannot comprehend. The goal is no longer just to outfight the enemy. It's to operate so fast that their ability to make any rational decision completely falls apart. It's about causing strategic paralysis.
This slide perfectly captures the huge economic shift behind this new kind of warfare. The 20th century, it was all about building a few perfect, incredibly expensive things. The aircraft carrier, the stealth bomber. That's the boomer doctrine. The new model? It's called asymmetric scale. Think thousands, maybe tens of thousands, of cheap, smart, expendable drones. Victory might not go to the side with the most advanced weapon anymore. It might just go to the side that can afford to lose the most stuff and just keep on fighting. It's a war of mass, a war of attrition.
And this new economic reality is giving birth to some frankly terrifying new doctrines. Distributed lethality means there's no single headquarters to attack. Swarm intelligence means thousands of drones can act like a single living organism. Algorithmic deterrence means your real strength isn't just your weapons, but your AI's ability to simulate the future better than your enemies. And all of this leads to one final goal: not to blow up the enemy's country, but to crash their whole societal operating system. But all of this, the hardware, the software, the AI, the drones, it's all pointing towards one final battlefield, the one that in the end determines everything. And it's not a physical place or a digital space. It's the 6 inches between your ears.
This is the endgame of modern conflict. And let's be really clear. Cognitive warfare is not just propaganda to try and change your mind. It is a direct assault designed to break your mind's ability to process reality. It uses weapons like deepfakes and viral algorithms to target our most primitive fears, our biases, all to paralyze our ability to tell what's real from what's fake.
This is a really subtle but devastatingly effective strategy. See, an adversary doesn't actually need you to believe their specific lie. They just need to flood the zone with so much noise, so many conflicting narratives, so many lies, so many conspiracy theories, that you just become exhausted. You give up. You surrender to the idea that objective truth doesn't even exist. And that creates cognitive paralysis. A society that can't agree on basic facts simply cannot make decisions. It will collapse under its own weight without a single shot ever being fired.
This powerful metaphor, it reveals the ultimate and most insidious goal of cognitive warfare. By creating a world of chaos and mistrust, it makes people crave simple, authoritarian answers. It makes them willing to trade their own freedom for just a feeling of certainty, to fasten their own chains while telling themselves they're finally safe.
So how do we defend ourselves against this? The only answer is to build what's called cognitive resilience. And this isn't about having a better firewall. It's about having a stronger society. It means we have to start treating digital literacy as a core national security skill. It means building up institutions that create trust, and it means training ourselves as individuals and as a country to resist the psychological manipulation that is coming at us every single day.
In the end, this entire framework really just boils down to one stark conclusion. In the 21st century, the most valuable strategic asset any nation has is a shared sense of meaning and purpose. If you lose that, if your society breaks apart into warring tribes who can no longer even agree on what's real, you've already lost the war no matter how many tanks or drones you have. So the question isn't just whether our technology is ready for the future. The real question is, are we?